Just here. I told you.
Now? Okay, now. Oh, it's a countdown? It happens. Welcome. For those of you watching at home, welcome. We know that those of us down here, we're just not worthy of you getting out of your chair to come down here. We feel that, we understand that, and, well, we're not saying that monkeypox can get through walls and attack people inside, but that's exactly what I'm saying. How do I know? I don't know. I'm just a scientist. I work for the CDC. Dr. Fauci's my uncle. Not really. Yeah, so welcome to Guild Night, and not only Guild Night, but this is my favorite month out of the year. No, not because it's fucking Pride Month. Shut the fuck up. I thought that's what you were nodding for. But because it is another month that starts with P, Prepper Month. This is our third year doing Prepper Month. I have no idea that the Guild would have been around this long. We've survived hurricanes. We've survived carny barkers. Fucking lawsuits. Carny barkers. You guys know exactly what I'm talking. Yeah, we have survived it all. And we've done that as a community. And part of being a community is taking care of each other and making sure the person to your right and left is able to be as resilient and well taken care of as you are at home. Hence the requirement and need for Prepper Month. Prepper Month is not about buying out all the cans of baked beans at Sam's Club and holing yourself up into your closet surrounded by guns and UN rice. I mean, that's just a Saturday night for me, but no. It is about making sure that we are prepared for what is the natural conclusion of every year for us Floridians, hurricanes. If you are new to Florida, turn around and go home, we're full. For those of you who have been here for a minute, though, we know that we get hurricaned a lot. And we also know that the longer you've been here, there's almost a corollary graph between time here and the amount of care you have as the categories go up. So if it's like a Category 1, you're like, well, whatever. Category 2, whatever. Category 3, you're stocking up on Bud Light and buying shotgun shells because you're going to shoot at the hurricane. Again, that's just another Saturday night for me. Yeah, that's a Category 4. You're shooting at the hurricane if it's a Category 4. The college students are not shooting at the hurricane because they can't own guns, because reasons. They're not 21 yet. I don't know, you guys 21 yet? Very well, congratulations on your, yeah. The guy on the left, he'll unfortunately get robbed in an alley or something, and sorry, we'll peel his wallet out from between his ass. Yeah, so Prepper Month. We want to focus on hurricane preparedness, disaster preparedness, and resilience. And that revolves around a couple things. Well, let's say one. Number one would be spreading the knowledge. If you have a really, really badass hurricane preparedness kit and you have a really good methodology to batten down the hatches, and you are not telling your neighbors about it, you are a jerk. And yeah, you're just a jerk. Stop that. If you have supplies and your neighbors to the right and left don't have those supplies, you're a jerk. If they have guns and no supplies, your supplies are going to be their supplies. Let's avoid that, though. If you have, like, for instance, my best friend who is at home, we might know him as the Badger. He's currently at home with the Wuhans right now. We love you. Get well. I live in Tarpon Springs. He lives close to Brandon, right by the casino. If the power's out and I need to, we need to know that the other person's okay and need help, How do we get a hold of each other? Do we have radios? Do we have like LoRa antennas set up? That's stuff we need to talk about and make decisions as a guild. Because one person by ourselves, think of back to your high school days, for those of you who have just been nerds your entire life. By yourself, you're useless. You get stuffed into lockers. It's just not a fun time. If you think back to high school and you get PTSD. For those of us who were athletes, though, anyways, we were prepared, and we knew to run in numbers, because numbers are good. So next week, we are going to start things off with a Stop the Bleed class at Brandon General Hospital. If you do not know general first aid, if your buddy has a sucking chest wound, or God forbid something happens and he bleeds out because you don't know what you're doing, you will take that to your grave. Get educated. This isn't a war zone or something, but anything can happen. Get educated, know how to patch somebody up. So we've got that going on next week. We are also going to have a auxiliary talk for next week as well. We're still in the works. I think we are working with Rab on that one. Rab has promised us a class on how to build your own forge, because why not? We have a class on beekeeping coming up. We have a class, me and my beloved partner in crime, Fake Jeremy, are talking about how to prepare your network for hurricanes coming in and beyond. It's going to be really cool. It's probably going to be my favorite Gucci Home Lab show since the first one. I'm really excited for it. We're going to bring that to you guys. On the 16th, we have a concealed carry class coming up that I'm going to be kicking off with another instructor. We're going to try and make sure that the guild's able to protect themselves and protect each other, because wild things are happening out, be prepared. The 18th, we're going to have a range day. That's also in the works. Whole bunch of awesome stuff coming up. I'm really excited. Prepper month is personally my favorite month out of the year as far as guild activities go. So if you're here for it, whether you're new or you've been with us for all 3 years, welcome to Prepper month. Let's make sure that we all come out of this month more prepared than we came in. And let's make sure that you especially if you're new, get to know the rest of the guild. If you've joined the guild as a new person and you only know 5 people, you're doing it wrong. So get to know other people, build up your network, figure out who lives around you. I just found out that our speaker lives 2 minutes from me, so I can get him drunk and stumble him home, which I'm excited for. I'm going to take you up on that. And speaking of our new speaker, this guy, real interesting guy. So at first, whenever the first time he walked down to our beloved temple, I thought he was going to walk in and teach me how to make a latte or something. I couldn't quite figure out what to make of him. As we've gotten to know each other and as he's gotten to know the guild, well, he's a hell of a dude. This gentleman just recently made the jump from a fully established career, which I will let him talk about, into the cybersecurity industry. It's a hell of a deal. It's a hell of a story. I'm excited to introduce him. He's going to tell you about it. Ladies and gentlemen, and by the end of the night, we need him to have a handle. So we've been throwing some ideas around. I think the current sticking one, Dr. Sonny, what was the one you were saying?
Blade Hell.
Blade Hell, which is just too cool for how this guy dresses. I'm thinking Glee Club or band camp or something. Cyber Barista. Oh shit. The Cyber Barista. Imagine imagine in 10 years just seeing you've been ransomwared by the Cyber Barista.
We could do a spin-off Starbucks
Yeah. Starbucks logo for.
I do fishing.
Okay, so right now the going one is Cyber Barista. I'll leave it to him, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to introduce Mitchell.
Hello! Hi out there, Neon Temple people. My name is Mitchell, pending the cyber barista, I suppose. But the goal of tonight's talk is if you are sitting at home or you're sitting here from a college class, I know we have some college students here, and you're just trying to figure out, well, how do I get into the cyber world? Well, literally weeks ago, I was in your very shoes. And I was going through the process. And as I've gone through that process and had the good fortune of now starting as a SOC Tier 1 analyst, which if you don't know what a SOC is, it's a Security Operations Center. When you hear red team and blue team thrown around, SOCs are the blue team people. We're trying to make sure red team people aren't allowed to go anywhere. So I'm working in a SOC now, but as Cochise just said, I was a teacher. I was in a fully established career before this. Fully established, I think, is being too kind to me. But I was a school teacher before this. I was a high school English and drama teacher at St. Petersburg High School. Before that, I attended USF for music studies with a focus in vocal performance. So if we ever get that guild jam night together where everyone can play the drums and have a rock band, I'll be there. But I studied vocal performance. Before that, I studied just to get my associate's degree, and then I graduated from Countryside High School in 2017. I have the good fortune to be joined here tonight by Dr. Sunny, who so wonderfully provided the scholarship that is the reason that I have the good fortune to give the talk tonight, and which will be going towards getting my Security Plus certification. And yeah, so that's my current goals as I stand here right now in front of you all. I also have the good fortune to be joined by she hates when I say this, but by my recently acquired wife, which yeah, she was the result of those ad singles near you. I'm just kidding. No, I was dating her for 3.5 years, and then this past March, I had the good fortune of getting to marry her. I just recently moved into my very first home. I switched careers, so 2022 has already been a hell of a year. And I know that this month with Prepper Month and with all the guild has to share and offer, that it's gonna keep going and keep being just a grand old time. So if you haven't joined the guild yet, hopefully by the end of this you'll see, or I'll be able to convey to you in some small way why you should consider joining the guild. I think it's one of the greatest choices that I have made in recent memory. Second only to getting married. It's like joining the guild, getting married. Oh, just kidding. Swap those around. Oh, yeah. And getting my two lovely dogs, Houdini and Gatsby, who are very tiny. But anyway, the name of the talk tonight is Context Matters: How to Become the Cyber Detective of Your Favorite Noir Film. Now, for those of you who don't know what I mean when I say noir film, welcome in. When I say noir film, I'm referring to those films where they say things like, these streets aren't gonna police themselves, behind a cloud of cigarette smoke with the blinds behind them and it's all black and white. And when you see the guy running down the alleyway, you don't see him, you see his long shadow being cast down the alleyway in front of him. And the detective goes, and he self-narrates, and you see him, the opening scene of the movie, it's the opening credits, and then all of a sudden you hear, so I was out with this dame last night. And they call everyone dame and doll. And again, they smoke so much, it's a wonder they can get their lines out from all the tar in their lungs. But context matters. How to become the cyber detective of your favorite noir film. If you like this image, search cyberpunk wallpapers on Google Images. And you will find it. So here we have our cyber detective. He stands there with his coat on, revolver in hand. It has to be a revolver, even though we've evolved in gun technology far past it. In the year 2047, we're all still going to be using revolvers. And he has his fedora on. I'm convinced that detectives are the only people who can rock fedoras. And he has the 5 o'clock shadow. Oh, and there we go. The major components of the modern cyber detective. He's a problem solver, he's an analyzer, and as all good detectives from noir films are, he's suave and thorough. So let's break those down into each of their major components. A problem solver. So I hate reading from slides, but for the first 3 slides here, we're going to need to read a little bit. In an ever-changing cyber world, what problem does the cyber detective solve for his clients? Because remember, detectives in noir films are never actual police detectives. They're always private investigators. And they go, well, if I have to step outside the law just this once. And as they take people and throw them out the window, think, where are the other drugs going? From the Christian Bale Batman. He keeps them safe. He finds potential threats. He gathers information, but we'll go deeper into that when we get into analyzing. And he walks the streets doing the dirty work so the client's information can sleep at night feeling safe. That's the general idea of the problem-solving cyber detective. He's an analyzer. Can someone tell me what this is? Blade Runner. Woo! The cyber detective does not rest till every possible clue has been gathered. Their job is to guarantee that they have explored every alleyway, every dark, dingy alleyway of information before reporting to the client. It's actually not that dark and dingy. For the most part, it's blindingly white interfaces that make it a pain to look at them for hours on end. And finally, he has to borrow from our friend here, James Bond, the 007. My opinion is that the Daniel Craig 007s are the best 007s, but that's me. Suave and thorough. The cyber detective, for many, is a private investigator. So, and I mean that quite legitimately. If you work for a company that is a private company and sells security to other companies, you are not a federal agent of cybersecurity. Unless, of course, you work for the government. You provide cybersecurity for the government. So we have to find legal pathways to gather our information so that we may find a way to package it and present it to our clients in an actionable manner. When I say an actionable manner, of course, I mean we can't just give them information and say, okay, well, there's enough information to get a general idea of the situation. Going above and beyond as a cyber detective means telling them a couple options that they might have to deal with it. And because you're a private investigator, because you don't walk around with any more authority than anyone else who has a job and knows something about something, you have to be charismatic. Being a cyber detective, interfacing with clients who might not be technologically literate means being personable, having personable skills, being charismatic, being confident. If you're in the job market specifically, this is very important. We'll get to it later on, but being charismatic can get you a job. It honestly is how I got my job. I'm not that charismatic, but I like many people who have gained jobs into careers that they might not have been a perfect fit for initially, but that they are excited to learn in, I made friends. And those friends helped me because I helped them with my friendship. we established a relationship. I gained as much from them. I got my current job because the best man of my wedding helped me out. So establishing relationships, maintaining those relationships, finding new relationships that you bring something unique to in being an excited learner. Being an excited learner is a unique thing to bring to a relationship. We always talk about, well, it's quid pro quo. We need to, I have to give you something in order for you to give me something. Well, lots of the people, specifically the people at a place like the Neon Temple, are just excited to talk about what they do for a living because it's cool. It's really neat. It's being a cyber detective. That's how my first few weeks at my job have made me feel. So people, especially the people in this room, are all very excited to share stuff with you, but they're not excited to share it with someone who's not excited to hear it. If you're excited to learn, if you present yourself as openly and honestly as you possibly can, that will take you leagues. It can take you to the moon and back. So there we go. That's our 007 slide. So I talked a lot about the dark and dirty alleyways of the cyber world and how we use those to gather information. Well, they're not really dark and dirty, and they're not really alleyways. They're called SIMs. I pronounced them as seams, but I was corrected. They're SIMs. S-I-E-M, and that last S should not be capitalized. It's just plural. It's pluralizing the word. But SIMs stand for Security, Information, Event Management, and then I guess you could add the extra S if you said software. Now, the cyber detective doesn't walk the bustling streets of a big city. Their domain has much more traffic than a place like NYC. A few examples are Alien Vault, Stellar Cyber, Logarithm, but I'm going to be pulling a couple screenshots. Well, not screenshots, they're not my screenshots. They're someone else's screenshots that I found on Google, of one called Kibana. That's K-I-B-A-N-A if you want to look it up at home. Examples. So we're going to walk through how we would be a cyber detective for a few of these. If we have time, if everyone's vibing with it, we'll do all of them. If we don't, if people aren't vibing with it, then we won't do all of them. How about that? Can someone shout out if you can see the board? Jay, can you tell me which one of these would you like to add to walk through?
Oh, let's do the VPN authorization from suspicious location.
All right, so Jay chose VPN authorization from a suspicious location. Now, this is what we call an alert. If it pops up on your screen in a place like Kibana, it's an alert. Specifically, if you're on the page that says alerts. I know, cyber is terribly confusing. If it pops up on the page that says alerts and it says VPN authorization from a suspicious location, that means that a rule was broken. Which brings me to my next slide. That's against the rules. Alerts versus events. Now, alerts happen in a SIM, in most SIMs. I apologize, I can't speak in absolutes. Only a Sith speaks and deals in absolutes. Thank you. But alerts versus events. An alert happens when an event breaks a rule. So an event is everything that a SIM can see that is happening on a network. Now, if you want to get into this, I could have included a slide about DNS, but I don't think that fits into our talk today. But look up DNS. It's called Domain Name Service, and you'll see what I mean. And SIMs are called, they're either IDS or IPS. And if you're studying for your Security Plus, you could write that down if you'd like. But IDS is Intrusion Detection System, that's the D. And IPS is Intrusion, well, I make the same shape, Prevention System, but include my legs that time. So that's against the rules. Alerts occur when events break the rules. Or they ping against the rules. And now rules, we have alerts, we have events. Alerts are events. Sorry, all alerts are events, but not all events are alerts. And how do we determine which events become alerts? Well, in a SIM, we set up a series of rules. Now, in things like Alien Vault, Kibana, Stellar Cyber, all of those will come pre-packaged to a company with a specific set of pre-packaged rules. And when the software is installed at the company, those pre-packaged rules will be loaded into the SIM, and then it's the job of the company that is monitoring that SIM to customize the user profile of the company that's being monitored by the SIM to tune it, to make sure that the rules are pinging off of things that the company wants to see. A good example of this is MFA, or multi-factor authentication. Not every company wants to see when multi-factor authentication gets updated. Some of them do, because it is possible to exploit your way into a company's network if you exploit your way into their multi-factor authentication, whether that's through a phishing email. That's the only example I have in my brain right now. Whether it's through a phishing email and you change their phone number, and by changing their phone number, then you can receive their forgot your password, send me a text. And you say, and you have your little burner phone, and you go, haha, I got your text to my burner phone instead of your real phone. And you put in their authentication code, and then you go over to SharePoint and you click download all. And you offload their entire SharePoint. But anyway, back to VPN authorization from a suspicious location. So VPN authorization from a suspicious location is the name of the rule that's being broken. When the rule is being broken by an event, which is just a user logging on from an IP that the SIM does not attribute that user to normally. And now you get into the minutia when you say the word normally, because someone has to define, well, what is normal? Is 1 time anomalous? Is 2 times anomalous? Is 15? Is 75? Is 10,000 times anomalous from a suspicious location? And that's up to the tuning. But let's just go off the idea that if a user logs in from a new IP that geolocates, because you can take IPs, you can drop them into a website. My favorite one is IP void. You scroll down towards the bottom. It's the second to last row in the middle column. It says IP geolocation. You copy and paste the IP that your SIM spits out for you, where it will tell you user logged in and then user logged in from. It'll parse that data from the command line, which comes from the raw log. And parsing just means it grabs the information, it throws it into a GUI, or a graphical user interface that is more intuitive to look at and will hurt your eyes less than reading raw logs. If you've ever had to scope through raw logs for events, I looked at it only in my training, and I pity you. I'm so sorry. But if the IP geolocates far away from where the user has normally logged in from, again, we defined normal, then that will ping an alert. And now you might say, well, we always need to tell the company about that. I think that even if the company tells me they don't want to hear about that, the company's wrong. I think you should always hear about that. Well, you're probably right. The company should probably hear about it, but here's why it might not be a problem. Say that Jay goes on a business trip to Siberia, which sounds like a really fun business trip. And so all of a sudden, Jay has to use his VPN to authorize into his home machine or the remote desktops that his company has set up for him. And his IP that he wants to get into that computer from geolocates to Siberia. And now Jay's from Florida, or at least I'm assuming he is, or that's one heck of a commute. It would ping in the SIM. And in the SIM, you would see, oh, well, he's geolocating to Siberia. Oh my gosh, Siberia is really close to a specific area of the world right now. And so that's funky. We need to tell them about it. Red alert. And you send the company over an email, and you say, oh, well, this alert is being funky. I would invite you, if you are at home, to use as neutral language as possible as you can when doing your initial investigation, so as not to, just like in a real investigation, bias the response you receive from somebody. Because if I walk up to Jay and I go, oh my God, something terrible has happened. And he goes, what's going on? And I go, I stubbed my toe. There's a big disconnect in between how I presented the start of the information and how important the information actually is, unless there's like a detonator in my toe or something that only triggers by me stubbing it. So say, is this expected activity? And the company should probably know that Jay is on a business trip for them right now. And they'll shoot back, oh, well, this is expected activity. And you log it into whatever ticketing system or logging system you have, because the company should have a logging system. And then you go on with your day. Now, the one I really want to talk about, thank you, Jay, for the wonderful, oh, does anybody have any questions about what I just said? No? Awesome. It's a pretty straightforward idea. But the one I would love to talk about is user added. Now, user added is just an admin added a user. And you might think, oh, well, that's what admins do. Now, what you might not see is admin is the under the radar presence of the admin being hacked, whether that's physical hacking by the admin just forgot to lock their computer when they walked away, and someone with malicious intent near them, whether that's maybe it's an employee that's planning to quit and go to a competitor company in a couple days, or somebody else who happens to be in the room near them. They come up and they create a user, and they add that user to a domain-controlled security group. And that domain-controlled security group is company admins. It's the name of the group. Now, user added by itself does not appear anomalous, or create user or user added, either one, does not appear anomalous. However, if you see user added, and then above it, you see anomalous file download. And you see that the user that was just added, or the user that was just created, all of a sudden is downloading the entire company SharePoint. If the user is downloading the entire company SharePoint, that's weird. That's super weird. That is anomalous activity. Not often. I mean, SharePoints can be into the terabytes of information. If the user that was just created, just added to the system admin, so they just got access to all of the company's files where previously they did not have access to that, you might want to send that up. And by sending that up, you might have saved that company millions of dollars. Why? Well, it's hard to quantify. Quantify, I mean put a number on. It's hard to quantify how much money a company's information is worth. If you are making shoes and you have a revolutionary new pair of shoes that does the walking for you in our mythical world that I am just spinning up now. And you have a new pair of shoes that does walking for you, and that's crazy. And your competitor, there's only one other company in the self-walking shoe market. And your competitor hasn't gotten all the way there yet. They're 90% of the way there, but you have a functioning prototype of self-walking shoes. Your competitor does not. You're on your way to doing mass manufacturing, and you're doing your marketing campaigns, and you're getting ready to announce and to ship and see how you can build this up so it's an economy of scale and you make some money, or you make a lot of money. And your competitor steals your information. And they already have manufacturing plants up and running. They knew a guy, they just know someone who's faster than you. And they get to market before you. Well, how do you quantify the amount of money you lost based on the illegal reconnaissance they performed on your network? Because they got to market first. And if they got the news press first for self-walking shoes. I mean, if you're not first, you're last, as the saying goes. Well, that's why we exist. That's the whole reason that cybersecurity as a field or information, what did they call it at risk assessment? Not risk assessment, cyber risk assessment, something like that. Cyber risk assessment, that's why we exist, is to stop people from doing things like that. My final one is just a fun one. It's VPN concurrent authentication. And VPN concurrent authentication just means somebody authenticated into the same VPN or same remote desktop from two separate places. Same username, but two machines. And the reason that I'm bringing this one up is because, oh, well, you might think, oh, somebody is piggybacking off of a login. And they grabbed the information while it was being sent, and now they're logging in, and they could have malicious intent, and it's terrible and awful. If you go into IP Void again, and you drop those two in, and one of them says Spectrum Business. That's the ISP, or Internet Service Provider, again, if you're breaking into the cyber field. And the other one says Verizon Wireless. And they geolocate within 2 miles of each other, or 3 miles, or even half a state within one another. What's happening? Well, a user has a laptop, like the one that's sitting behind me, and they have a cell phone. And their cell phone, they just didn't add it to the Wi-Fi that they were on. They authenticated through their cellular data, and their cellular data went up, and it pinged a cell tower, and that cell tower sent their data elsewhere, or it went to the nearest cell tower, or that cell tower said, I'm too busy, so I'm going to send it to this one, and that cell tower said, I'm too busy, I'm going to send it to this one, and all of a sudden, you're at a cell tower that's 300 miles away from you, that is asking for your information, and then doing it quickly, obviously, and hopefully, and then sending it all back to you. But you geolocate 300 miles away from yourself, even though the devices that you're logging in from are within 12 inches of one another. That's not a threat. The other job, besides sending up things that are suspicious, is not sending up things that aren't suspicious. Why? Because time is money. Companies that pay for security services or not security vendors, because that's a different thing, that pay for security services probably also have their own internal IT or general security department. And your ticketing goes from you to their internal department that handles their cybersecurity and their risk assessment. And then they come back and say, yes, that is malicious, or no, that isn't malicious. So you can determine whether or not you need to gather more information, escalate the case. You can figure out client relational-wise what needs to happen. If you're sending them up everything your SIM sees, well, then why aren't they monitoring the SIM themselves? The goal is that hopefully they spend less money using you than they would just doing it themselves. Why? Because you have the infrastructure, you have the training modules, you have the people there who know what to do. They don't have to build up from the ground zero that your company did. All they have to do is hire you to do it. You did it. Much like being a videographer, if I own a camera and it's an expensive camera and I know how to use my camera, well, why doesn't someone else just go out and I charge $500 for my services? Well, the reason somebody would come and pay me $500 to make them a video or an Instagram reel or something like that for their business is because I've invested the time, the energy, I have the editing computer, I have the skills needed to use the editing computer, all that fun stuff. But that's the general idea of why we exist and some examples of what your job could be if you were a cyber detective, specifically a blue team SOC Tier 1 analyst. So there we are. Anybody have any questions or any comments to add? No? All good. So we have, how do we practice without a job? So you might be saying to yourselves, well, that's great, Mitchell, but I'm not a Tier 1 analyst in a SOC like you, in all your majesty. And I would say, well, thank you, you're too kind. But here's how you practice if you don't have a job. Call of Duty. You play Call of Duty Warzone. Now, why do you play Call of Duty Warzone? Video games, sorry. Well, to begin with, what is Call of Duty Warzone? It's a battle royale. In a battle royale, you have to do a couple things. Step 1, you have to fly in. When you fly in, you have to choose your location. Step 2, you have to loot. Step 3, you have to move strategically because the arena is closing in to a smaller final circle to increase engagement rates so that people can't just hide away from each other circa DayZ era. video games. You need to win fights, obviously, because if you can't just not engage forever, and you need to be the last team standing to win. Now, my favorite thing about it is winning fights. Why? Because video games give instant feedback as to whether or not your problem solving was good or not. If it was good, you're still alive. If it was bad, you're not. And now obviously there are some other things like, do you have the prerequisite skills? Are you good enough at aiming with a mouse and keyboard? That's another thing. Video games, specifically PC games, if you are not good at using a computer, play computer games. Play computer games with hardware that's like 5 or 6 years old. And then you'll really start to understand what resource management looks like when you play video games. Specifically computer-based resource management. So, to win fights, let's look at my lovely screenshot of Call of Duty Warzone. This is Rebirth Island. There's prison. Behind me is a bunch of more staircases that look like this and go down a couple more levels. To my left here is a 3-story house. Here's the basement, then you go up. Now, alert, I take damage. Cochise, which side of the screen do I take damage from?
From the back.
From the back. So down here. Well, geographically, I know that behind me is down, or behind me is a cross. So step 1, I take damage. That's the event. The event is someone shot a bullet, and it hit me. And then the rules that I have set up for myself in my brain are taking damage is bad. So the game knows that taking damage is bad too. So it sets up a set of programs to make sure that the bullet that came out of the virtual gun hit my virtual avatar, and then my virtual avatar responded by having this little blue bar up top go that way. That's graphical user interface in a sim. Next step. I have to determine, well, what's the speed that I have to respond to this at? How much damage did I take? I can see that quickly. I gather my information, I move along. I gather events, audio and visual. So here's when I do my reconnaissance. And this is all happening very quickly. Here's when I do my reconnaissance. Did it sound like it was coming from behind me? Second off, they give you damage indicators and directional damage indicators in Call of Duty Warzone. So I'll see a little red like arch on this part of my screen, and it will tell me, oh, the damage came from that way. So then I search my brain. Well, what's that way? And I can answer that question 2 ways. I can rack my brain and see if my memory serves me well, or I can turn around. And if I turn around, then I gather even more information. Can I see my enemy? If not, they are probably somewhere that's hard to be seen from. I check areas as quickly as I can in order of convenience. So if I turn around and all of a sudden they are like Spider-Man distance behind me. You can't see Spider-Man right here. No one has ever interacted with Spider-Man as long as I've been at the temple. So Spider-Man's part of my presentation tonight. I'm messing with Spider-Man. So if I turn around and Spider-Man is this close to me, and Spider-Man has a gun pointed against me, well, my plans of action have changed. They've changed based on that distance. Yes, yeah. If Spider-Man's right behind me, well then my choices are limited. I can't create distance. I can't I can't create distance. Why? He moves at the same speed I do. It's a video game. His max speed and my max speed are functionally equivalent. Unless, of course, you're the recent Stim update in Warzone. But his max speed and my max speed are the same, and that's just archived in my information bank spec there. It's all good. Next, if he's farther away from me, if I can see he's on the rooftop that's like 60 yards that way behind me.
Now, Mitchell, I have a question.
Yes.
So what if Spider-Man, so you gotta get your high presentation, right?
Yeah.
So you're in COD, right?
I'm in COD.
So Spider-Man comes down and just latches onto your face.
Oh, if he latches
what
on,
do you do?
well, he's obvious.
Then I'm giving him $20.
Yeah. Then I'm uninstalling the game at that point, coaches, because Spider-Man is obviously playing. Yeah.
And then he gives you $20 and lights a cigarette and walks away.
Oh well, everybody's got to make money somehow, coaches. So.
$20 is $20.
Yeah, $20 is $20. As long as I have socks on, it's okay. So anyway, I'm responding to stimulus. He's far away or he's near. I have a couple different options. I can propose to myself because I'm the client and the sock. Well, if he's far away, I can dip into that open window that's there to my left. There's cover down to my right because I know there's a wall right behind the screenshot to the right. I could duck behind there. If I think I'm a really crack shot, I could return fire. If I think I'm going to kill him before he's going to kill me. If it was a sniper shot, and I know this because I would have received only one indicator of damage, or IOC indicator of compromise, then I know, well, he's not beaming me with an M4, he's firing a sniper shot at me. I know snipers fire one bullet and then go cha-chink, cha-chink. So I have a little bit of time. I have more time than if he was beaming me and all of a sudden my health is entirely gone and he's hitting nothing but headshots because he's hacking, as anyone who would beat me in Warzone would be. I'm just kidding, I'm not that good at Warzone. So that's my favorite thing about video games, specifically for training yourself for being in cyber. Number one, gets you interfacing with a computer. Number two, it practices your analysis and problem-solving skills over and over again. Like I said, if you did good problem solving and you responded well, you're alive. If you didn't do one or both of those things, you're dead. So it gives you really quick feedback, much quicker than sending off your report to a friend and saying, hey, can you read this and give me feedback? And number three, it's fun while you do it. So if you're having fun with your friends, if you're being goofy, if you're getting drunk and playing some Warzone, or you're playing Warzone entirely sober and you're just screaming over comms with your friends, he's one shot! You're going to do it for a while. I mean, I know I've played video games for many hours before. And why? I enjoyed my experience. I had a good time. Beyond that, what I didn't realize was happening was I can now muscle memory know where my G key is. Why does that matter? Keyboard shortcuts. Did anyone here know that Control Tab lets you go this way on your tab bar and Control Shift Tab lets you go that way? It's a lot quicker than taking your mouse, moving it up, clicking, moving it back down onto the screen where you want it to go. You're cutting out a middleman. What does that do? Why would anyone do this? It's even people who are higher up in cybersecurity. Being a quicker problem solver, a more efficient problem solver, makes you more valuable. Why does it make you more valuable? Like I said earlier, time is money. The more of a workload you can handle because you are a faster and more accurate worker, means that you, if you're the owner of the company, or your company can take on more clients because you have the capability to look at more things, quickly make a decision, and quickly handle them. That makes you more valuable. And that is why years of experience in cyberland, as you are going into learning how to either get a job or get a new job, years of experience will increase your pay rate much quicker at the beginning than certifications will. Why? Because certifications only get you so far. I mean, once you're in. Do you disagree with that? It's okay if you do.
I may have missed part of what went on.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be confrontational. I was just trying to be like, I could be wrong. So, because I am new. So I'm under no disillusions. Yeah. So if you say, well, I'm not a gamer, or Mitchell, I can't game forever. That's true. You need to get out there and learn. How could you learn? The Neon Temple. Show up here. This is an open to the public talk. So if you want to see people who know a lot more than me talk in a way that is at least as good as I am doing right now, if not much better, show up here. If you can't show up here, you can attend from home. I had to attend from home recently because my training for being a SOC Tier 1 analyst went 12 to 8, and I live in Holiday. So by the time I got here, everyone would be gone. Online books. I'm a huge fan of online books, whether that's today's sponsor, Audible. Just kidding, we're not sponsored by Audible. I'm just kidding. We're not sponsored by Audible. Online books, whether that's that or the Kindle app on your phone. There's a bunch of, I think there's a couple other services that will read PDFs to you anymore. So if you really, really hate looking at your phone and reading, or you hate picking up a physical book and reading, first, if you hate picking up a physical book and reading, it's because you haven't done it enough. Books are magical. So, but I think the feel of a book in your hands, it tells a story about your experience with it as you read it. When you first open a book, it has that little thing where the binding of it is just getting used to being bent, and then by the end of it, hopefully it's weathered and it's easy to flip open, and you can rifle through the pages really quickly, and you have the little earmarks. Anyway, that's a different talk, but I love reading, and you should read more. Certifications. Here you have, I threw Network Plus up there because even though it's kind of field adjacent to cybersecurity or to all that stuff, having a good fundamental understanding of networking is a weak area in my knowledge base. And now I am just getting started, so I have to give myself a little bit of grace. But I am doing Networking Plus right after I do my Security Plus because I think that having a better understanding of how networks work will make me more knowledgeable, more valuable, and I have a pride thing about how good I am at things, so like I just want to be better. AWS, which is Amazon Web Services, EJPT, which is Junior Penetration Tester. I can't remember what the E stands for. eLearn Security, thank you. Junior Penetration Tester. And if you are like me and you just will watch YouTube for hours and hours and hours, watch Professor Messer. One time I had to show up, I was showing up to the guild, and it was right after I was still a high school teacher, and I didn't want to drive home and then drive here. So I showed up here, I sat in the leather the leather chaise lounge thing that's right there. And I put on Professor Messer at 2 times speed, and I watched 6 hours of his videos. And it was glorious. I learned so much just sitting there absorbing, and I know that the second time I watch, it'll be even better. And the third time I watch, it'll be even better. It's the kind of thing, if you have a long commute, if you work from home, and you primarily do work on the computer, and you're not in Teams calls or in and out of Teams calls all day, and you don't feel like listening to music or just having silence, which thank God for silence, having silence that day, silence, just normal, just no noise. Love hearing no noise sometimes. Hearing nothing is underrated. But if you want something in the background, put on Professor Messer. Put him at 2 times speed. Tune in when you can, tune out when you have to. He has a decently low voice and a fairly nice speaking cadence, so he's not irritating to listen to. As someone who has watched a lot of YouTube, if someone has a grating voice like me, just kidding, then it's hard to listen to. So anyway, finally, you want a job. That's the final little bit, because that's sort of who this talk was aimed at. The people who are sitting in this room primarily know most everything that I just talked about. You want to be suave and thorough. So you want a job. Everyone does. People like giving jobs two kinds of people in my admittedly limited experience. Number one, people who have experience, i.e. the frustrating entry-level jobs you see posted on places like Indeed and LinkedIn. We're paying a $37,000 a year for 5 to 6 years of experience. You must be fluent in at least 4 programming languages and have 19 certifications. So if you can't be a person with experience, like I couldn't be because, well, you need experience to get the job, you need the job to get experience. If you can't be that, you can be number 2, people they like. And now, I understand you could throw it back at me, you could say, Mitchell, there are some people who are just frustrating to get in contact with. Well, if someone's frustrating for you to be around, or they don't like, it appears that they don't like you and you don't like them, I would invite you to spend a little more time with them, to really try and pry their minds, see the way they think, take notice of the ways they think that might be different than you. So especially take notice of the things that exist about them that are similar or the same as you. You might find you have more in common, more common ground that you can work on than you initially thought, because we walk around judging people because that's just who we are. It's a survival instinct. If we couldn't look at fire and say, "Wow, I should go that way," then we wouldn't have survived as a species. If we couldn't see a bear and go, "Wow, I should definitely go that way," we wouldn't have survived as a species. So don't hate yourself if you misjudge somebody once or twice. It's fine, you're human. Just move past it by getting to know them a little bit more. But what you can do is you can be charismatic, likable, and being able to talk about yourself is a skill. You have to practice it. Just like you have to practice your cyber skills. And if you do both, you'll get there. Again, there is only so much practice you can do without having a job. It's true. The greatest teacher for me has been the last 2 weeks of training for my job. Because when you're doing it for 8 hours a day, and at times it's mandatory that you're there, so you have to sit and learn it, that will work wonders for you. People like to help people who are helping themselves. I told that to you earlier. The people in this room love talking about the things that they know because they surround themselves with people, hopefully, with people who like to hear about it. It's great. It's fun. Talking about the things you enjoy is a fantastic aspect of our social experience as humans. So there you go. You have to be suave and thorough. That's all. Now get out there and save the day. Be the cyber detective of your dreams. That's all. Good night. Oh, we do? Cool.
We do temple members first?
Yeah. And just repeat the question.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let me track down. I only counted a couple. Okay. So, question 1, has the speaker learned why Alien Vault is so sluggishly slow to load pages in the menu?
I have not. It's one of life's great mysteries.
That's because Alien Vault's a piece of shit.
Because AT&T doesn't
Do you
care.
want to repeat the question?
Oh, sorry. Alien Vault is so sluggishly slow because AT&T doesn't care about little old us. I'm kidding. I don't know. I have no idea. I wish it weren't.
Second question, why do many companies use both SIMs and security syslogs like Splunk? Doesn't Splunk replace the need of a SIM? That's a trick question.
So I'm unfortunately not familiar with Splunk. I'm assuming it's an IPS, like an intrusion prevention system? No?
Splunk is what your company would use if they had more money.
Oh, okay. There you go. Cochise's answer. Why do they use Splunk and a SIM? Because they have enough money to do it.
It has a security module, yes, but it's great for data analytics, inventory management, and other things.
So it's great for data analytics, inventory management, and etc. Is what was just spoken to me by Dino Dave.
So I have a question
yes.
from Cochise of the Temple here. So you were a teacher for how long?
1 year.
Okay, so 1 year as a teacher. What is the wildest teaching story that you have, and how did that? How do you think
Sorry.
you're going to tie that wild teaching story into your career as a cyber barista?
So my first off, how I will tie it into my career makes sense to say that first. I learned to get out of the way when I need to. And now, the wildest story. I'm going to anonymize their names. So we have Jeff and Dave. And Jeff is about a 6'2", very muscular man. I say Haitian, it's important because he speaks with a very French accent, like Haitian French, which is a different dialect of French, but is tomato to us Americans. Because we only learn one language in this country. But we have Jeff, 6'2" man. Then we have Dave. And Dave is about 5'3", and has a little rat mustache, and is this like kind of whiny kid. Sorry, Dave, if you're watching this, welcome to the Neon Temple. And sorry that I'm exposing you. Dave says to Jeff something about his mom. I don't know what, but he says something about his mom. And Dave, being the 6'2" muscular Haitian man, walks up to Jeff and goes, "You want to take this outside? You want to take this outside? You want to take this outside?" And so I, being a teacher, first, and not knowing that you're supposed to call administrators when that happens, I'm like, I'm a great teacher. I can diffuse this myself. So I walk up and I get in between them, and I'm like, "Hey, gentlemen, you got to calm this down," because that was their height differences. Well, actually, to me, it's, "Hey, gentlemen, you got to calm this down." So I got in between them and I was like, "Hey guys, calm down. Hey guys, calm down. Hey guys, calm down." And Jeff, very nice kid, walks around with a Haitian accent. He was like, "You want to take this outside?" And his very thick, muscular, think of big muscular Haitian man. His arms are so long that he reaches around me and shoves Dave in the chest so hard, Dave lifts into the air and squeaks like a dog toy. I have never heard air leave somebody's chest so quickly that they squeak. But lo and behold, boom, and that was and when that happened, luckily, I mean, Jeff, tall Haitian guy, very kind. When I got in between the two of them, his temper was so far gone, and I'm not terribly strong. I'm very tall, but not terribly strong. He could have just decked me. I mean, truly. But he didn't. He reached around me, and he didn't even punch the guy. He just shoved him. But, the Daves of the world are so tiny and small, they lift up into the air when shoved and squeak like a dog toy. So that is my wildest teaching story. Other than when we had an active shooter situation because a child set off a firecracker at school in the staircase. And firecrackers to children, when they are set off at school in the staircase, sound like gunshots. So lo and behold, everyone's running and screaming, but that's no fun to talk about. What is fun to talk about is Dave, the 5'3" kid, squeaking like a toy. So there you go. That's my wildest story as a teacher.
Yeah. Well, monsieur, you have offended me.
Yeah. It was so cool. No. Oh, and then another kid, sorry, he definitely a drug dealer because he had nothing in his backpack except a stack of cash about that tall. And I mean, if you could smell the kid, you would swing drug dealer.
Did he smell like the drugs?
The drugs, all the drugs.
All of the drugs.
So.
That's it from the temple side. Anybody in the crowd have any questions?
Yeah, so I saw some chatter, but his handle, right? Someone said sidebar.
We're gonna christen him at the end of the stream once we go radio silent.
Okay. So what's our questions from the YouTube crowd?
So, Fonda.
Sorry.
I'm not gonna butcher it.
No, you're good.
Is that like Fonda these balls?
Oh my God.
He asked, what's
What's my KD? Not as high as yours is, Fonda. Fonda's better at games than I am. Well, that's okay.
Is that his name, Fonda?
Yeah, his actual name's like Xenophon, but he goes by Fonda because it's easier.
You have to refer to him as like Fonda D's balls.
I can't. If you could meet Fonda, you wouldn't refer to him as Fonda D's balls.
Yeah, you get a lot of compliments on YouTube. There's not so many questions, so.
Ah, hell yeah, the gang showed up. I'm kidding. Cool.
Okay.
Is that everything?
So, I think we're done.
Awesome. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Oh,
we got Knitter. You want to let him get it?
Yeah, 'cause he's got the mic.
Okay, he's got the mic. Go ahead.
okay. Well, next week is good.
We'll announce next week. On,
Okay.
social media.
We'll announce next week on social media. So get on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, the works. Do we have a Twitter? A Twitter as well. So get on the works. If you're not gonna show up for the temple, at least look at the post to see Chris's wonderful artwork. And save it so you can use it as your wallpaper. Other than that, I have been Mitchell. My handle will be my handle will be something. Hopefully not Fonda D's nuts. but